Ladies and gentlemen, spooky brothers and sisters from all over the globe, welcome back to Terror of Tech. This is the 2024 March Madness Tournament Horror Edition. This video was created in inspiration of the 2024 March Madness NCAA tournament that'll be going on this month. But you know how we do it at Terror of Tech. We're going to put a little twist on it and make it the horror edition. So what I did was I took some of our favorite horror icons of all time and I put them in a tournament bracket. So not only is this tournament based on these horror characters, but the real thing that we'll be looking at is their particular franchise. And so what I decided to do is within the franchises of the horror villains that were selected, I randomized what movie in the franchise that horror character would be defending. And just so you can get a quick look at this tournament bracket. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. So, round one of this tournament bracket. Up first, Michael, the Goat Myers, representing Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Pennywise representing It, Chapter 2.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from your darkest fears, weighing in at 220 pounds. And his opponent from New York.
So when I think of these two movies starting out, these are two movies that are decently respected within their franchises. Now, you know, the It franchise there's really too many movies. You just have the It miniseries that came out in 1990, and then you have the It remake from 2017, and then in 2019 that's when they dropped It Chapter 2. And then as far as Halloween, then you have Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which we all know doesn't feature Michael Myers at all. And then you have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And so Michael Myers comes back. And first off, let me go ahead and say Halloween 4's intro, the opening scene, is one of the best in cinema, period. Just the atmosphere that it was able to create. It just feels so ominous and so empty. You just see these wide pan shots of, you know, what is known as Haddonfield. And you know, you just think about all the history of the town and everything that they've had to endure regarding Michael Myers and, you know, Halloween night. And so you know, that's just a beautiful shot. So that shot alone makes Halloween 4 very epic. But beyond that, when you look further into both of the movies, so then you have Halloween 4. So with him coming back, the one thing that I would say that they really could have capitalized on is bringing the mask. If you ask me, there's absolutely no reason why they couldn't bring back the original mask, or at least have a design that was very similar to the first mask. But you know, whatever. So the mask is one of the biggest flaws of the movie. But when you just think about the storyline and everything that we do get to see in Halloween 4, it's a very good movie. Now, when you look at It Chapter 2, going back to that, it doesn't quite hit the same. To me, coming off the success of the remake, I don't think that It Chapter 2 really capitalized all that much. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the actors that they chose to be each of the characters from the remake. I just think some of them didn't necessarily fit their characters the best as well as it did the first go around. And largely, being completely honest, I felt that It Chapter 2 was kind of boring in a lot of aspects. I mean, you know, there are some good scenes, you know, like the kid under the bleachers at the little game. You know, that scene was really good, but you know, but just moving on, it's so dragged out. The movie's long as hell too, so that doesn't even help in its case as well. So when it comes to Halloween 4 versus It Chapter 2, when it comes down to the matchup between Halloween 4 and It Chapter 2, Mike, go ahead and pack Pennywise up real quick.
Yes, unfortunately, you are absolutely right, Michael. Oh, what a wind-up. Doing that, boys, for the win. That will end it.
And for our next matchup in the bracket, we have my dog Chucky representing Child's Play 2. And we have Candyman representing the Candyman remake. So when it comes down to these two films, starting with Child's Play 2, Child's Play 2, in my opinion, capitalized on all of the success that Child's Play 1 had. When you think about, you were able to retain the main character, which will be Andy, outside of Chucky. And then you bring in a character like Kyle, which is one of the fan favorites. She's great in this movie. And you just, like I said, everything that you liked about the original Child's Play, I think that Child's Play 2 in a lot of ways did better, and they made the movie a little more fun. So like I think of the tones to me are completely different when you compare between Child's Play 1 and Child's Play 2. So Child's Play 2 definitely took things up a notch in my opinion. So then when you so in comparison, when you look at the Candyman remake, actually I think is very solid. I think they went in an interesting direction with this one, because I mean, obviously there are when you're making a remake, you want to have some elements that are very familiar to the original, and have different homages and callbacks for the fans, and that's what really can make a movie make all the difference. But just when you're thinking about going up head to head against a Child's Play 2, which I think was great in almost every aspect, where Candyman the remake was, it was solid for sure, but I don't think it was better than the Candyman original. And that's not me just being nostalgic or anything like that, but just genuinely, I don't think that it was. I like who they cast it to be Candyman, sort of how he was becoming Candyman. Yeah, overall it's solid. It's just not in comparison to a movie like Child's Play 2. I think Child's Play 2 is taking the cake. So, and let's go ahead and check back in with our match.
Impressive display of power. He's lost some of his. Yes, he didn't come here to watch him boast and taunt. Hoping to end it here. This is it. Oh, he got him. What a win.
Here is your winner.
And he certainly proved himself a superstar to watch with.
And on to the next matchup, we have Ghostface representing Scream 4, and we have Jason Voorhees representing Friday the 13th Part 6. So when it comes to these two movies, I'll say I'm gonna go ahead and get out the gate. Friday the 13th Part 6 is extremely nostalgic for me. It was one of the very first horror DVDs that I ever owned. Nostalgia for that movie always is gonna play a factor as well. The beginning scene with Jason's, zombie-like revival, or Frankenstein-like revival, I think that was great with Tommy and Haas. And then one thing that was really cool about this movie also is it was the first time we actually got to see like actual kids at camp. So I mean, it's crazy that it takes 6 movies into a franchise for y'all to finally do that. But because you have all these camp counselors, and then none of them are actually counseling any kids. It just doesn't quite make sense to me. But anyway, with this movie, we finally get to see that. So that's a cool extra element. But then on the other hand, you have Scream 4. Scream 4, for people who are a fan of the Scream franchise, and I would say I like the Scream franchise a good little bit. Nothing too crazy. I'm not just the biggest Scream fan or anything like that, but overall it's a very solid franchise. So when we're talking about Scream 4, with Scream 4, I think Scream 4 has almost similar in a way to Child's Play 2, where it has a lot of the same elements that you like in the first one. I think they compounded on a lot of those in Part 4. Now we can all be completely honest. The whole self-referential meta thing that the Scream franchise has going on, in some little scenes, it can be a little corny. Some of it is good sometimes, but sometimes it's like they go so hard into self-referencing like what it is and what horror, and always referring to other horror movies and things that it's just like, okay, we get it. Like we get that that's what Scream is all about. So sometimes it's like they overdo it, but outside of that, when it comes to Scream 4 is solid all around. Jill is one of the best killers outside of Billy. I know some people like some of the other ones, but Jill is top 2 for sure. This movie works out. There's a little red herring to try to make it seem like Trevor's the killer, and then, you know, obviously ends up being Charlie and Jill. But, you know, just overall, when you compare these two movies, I mean, I love Friday the 13th Part 6. It has a special place in my heart. But when I think of these two movies, I think Scream 4 overall is just a better movie. Outside of how much I love Friday the 13th Part 6, I just don't think it is a better movie than Scream 4. So Jason, it might be GG's for you.
Kick to the midsection. Hoisted up. Disorienting spin and Revolution's in the spinning powerbomb.
And for the last matchup of the first round, we have Freddy Krueger representing Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And we have Leatherface representing the Texas Chainsaw remake. Now, to me, honestly, this is probably the hardest matchup of round 1. So when it comes down to these two movies, starting off the bat, Wes Craven's New Nightmare is a great movie. I think it's very dark. I think it's extremely creative. It's just such a creative story having, because the whole movie's concept is like sort of, it's almost Scream-like. You know, it's kind of self-referential in that way, where it's like Freddy is just a character, and like this movie is almost like the real world, but there's a real world Freddy as well. That sounds extremely confusing, but just a really creative concept. You know, bringing Freddy more so into the real world, and Wes Craven is literally writing the story and the events of what is happening in the film as the film moves on. Like that, so just that aspect alone is super dope for this movie. Let alone all of the callbacks, and so then you have Texas Chainsaw the remake. The biggest thing where I think Texas Chainsaw remake nailed was the look and design of Leatherface was really good. Then having Jessica Biel play Erin, and you know all the other characters and actors that they had in this movie, I think it was perfectly casted. All of their roles were very, very believable and very good. And one thing that I really like about the remake is it didn't hold back on the scenes at all. So just a lot of those scenes where with the girl in the beginning shooting, you know, blowing her brains out basically. The cop, dang, what is his name? Arlie Ermy, yeah. That's his name. Cop being Arlie Ermy is just like the perfect asshole. And then the scene where Leatherface is wearing Kemper's face, which is Jessica Biel's boyfriend, and he was going to propose to her in the movie. But him wearing his face in front of her, crazy. That is insane. So when it comes to these two movies, man, it's so close. There's so many different aspects that I love. But if we're gonna have to keep it a bean, I think that Wes Craven's New Nightmare is just a tad bit better and a little more well crafted than Texas Chainsaw. So Texas Chainsaw, you out of here.
That'll turn things around in a hurry. Oh no! What is this? Reverse chokeslam.
Alright, so we're moving on to round 2. Starting off the first matchup of round 2, we have Michael Myers of Halloween 4 going against Chucky of Child's Play 2. When it comes to these movies, so this right here is a very solid matchup. I'm gonna dig in a little bit further. So looking at Halloween 4, and hold on. Wait, what's that? Chucky's running out during Michael's intro.
51 pounds, Michael Myers.
Guys, this match has the potential to completely change the WWE. They clearly weren't expecting this.
So looking at Halloween 4, as much as I love it, some other things that outside of the mess that they could have done better in these films is some of the things that Michael did was pretty unrealistic to his character. So like for instance, walking on top of the roof to get Jamie and Rachel, no, that's not something Michael would do. He's really sleek. You know, he's very patient. He stays in the shadows. A lot of his kills, he catches his victim off guard where they weren't expecting him. For things that are just as bad as that, there are other things that are just as good. So Danielle Harris playing Jamie, I think her character overall was really good. Just her and Rachel's dynamic together was perfect. What's that? So apparently Michael mad as hell and is whooping Chucky ass.
Oh, flipping the script on him there. He went right into that turnbuckle. Boom, what a right. Ooh, merciless looking blow. He's on his heels a bit now. Not a bad place to be in, but the longer this goes, the more trouble a superstar exposes himself to. He's on his heels a bit now. Not a bad place to be in, but the longer this goes, the more trouble a superstar exposes himself to.
So, and then you go to Child's Play 2, where, being completely honest, Child's Play 2 doesn't really have many flaws, if any at all. And that's not necessarily saying it per se in a way of it's a perfect movie, but just saying as in, you know what Child's Play movies are about. You just, all the fun that you get out of that, and I think all of the characters were played very well. The storyline is really one of the biggest aspects where I think Child's Play 2 pulls ahead, is, you know, you sort of sympathize or empathize with Andy, you know, him having to move to this foster home all over again, and then Chucky's following him. He doesn't have his mom anymore, he doesn't have his family. So, you know, him continuing on that, and then having Kyle sort of be this new big sister, or almost kind of like a parental figure to him, was just, you know, was just a nice little piece on top for the movie. As opposed to Halloween 4. Halloween 4, Laurie is out of the picture at this point, and then, I don't know. So, you know, just that whole timeline and what it led to and leading to Curse of Thorn. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers, but we all know that this was sort of the start of the downfall in the storyline. So when it comes to these movies, Michael Myers, you're going to hell, buddy.
Here it is! Vintage! Tombstone pile driver!
All right, and for the second matchup of round 2, we have Ghostface of Scream 4, and we have Freddy of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So for these two movies, I think this one is also tough as well. There's so many aspects of both that I really do enjoy, but they both have their flaws as well. You know, starting with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I mean, as cool and creative as I explained that the concept is, you know, of Wes Craven, you know, sort of writing the script, and, you know, that's sort of how Nancy's able to sort of quote unquote write her own story at the ending, because it's this whole Hansel and Gretel type of deal when it comes to this movie. That's a very cool concept. Ultimately, when you think about this movie, basically they're allowing Wes Craven to bend reality, which literally makes no sense at all. So you're just saying that he can put words on paper and words to a script, and all of a sudden they happen in real life. So that's the thing that's just like, okay, really? So, I mean, you know, that's a flaw of that movie, but, you know, overall, I'm able to, you know, look a little past that, and just because of all of the other aspects that they did and executed so well, it's kind of hard to, you know, it's still fun watching that movie ultimately. Scream 4, like I said, it's the self-referential king. I mean, it's just, that's all they do in all of these movies. I would say the final climax of Scream 4 is probably better than Wes Craven's New Nightmare, but I think in totality, given the flaws of both of them, I think Wes Craven's New Nightmare is a little bit better than Scream 4. So, and now, spooky brothers and sisters, we have the championship round. We have Chucky representing Child's Play 2 going up against Freddy of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So, comparing these two movies, this is an ultimate battle right here. Both movies are top dogs in their franchise, in my opinion. I mean, if we look at the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, I would say the original is probably better than Wes Craven's New Nightmare. But outside of that, I honestly think Wes Craven's New Nightmare is better than Dream Warriors. It's better than Freddy's Revenge. It's better than Dream Master, it's better than, especially Freddy's Days. It's better than all of those. It's better than the remake. It would, for me, rank as number 2 in its franchise. And then you look at Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2 is very solid in its own right. And I think the difference between these two is, I think you can argue that Child's Play 2 is better than Child's Play 1. I personally would probably say I love Child's Play 1 a little bit more. I mean, maybe that's just me, you know, being Maybe that's just me being a homer just because, you know, I love originals and it's kind of hard to, you know, look outside of originals. And for what they did to even set up to make a part 2 as good as it is, you have to have everything from the original. So in that aspect, it's kind of hard sometimes, but I can easily accept the argument that Child's Play 2 is better. And when I look at both movies just on their face value, tune back into the match and see who wins.
Classic! Oh no! Tombstone pile driver! A game-ending move. Checkmate. Pin! That'll do it! The victory tonight!
Here is your winner, the unpredictable Chuck.
Ended this match with a big win under his belt. I'll hang my hat on a win of that caliber any day of the week. This is one to be proud of.
And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our 2024 Horror March Madness tournament. Thank you all for watching tonight. It was a really special event. Chucky's taking home the main prize. And what's that? Okay. So apparently Chucky's ready to interview. So hold on, we're gonna connect with him right now. Hey Chucky, can you hear me? Alright, so this is Tech. So Chucky, what do you have to say after defeating everyone and becoming the Horror Sequel March Madness Tournament champion?
Don't fuck with the Chuck!
Oh, well, alright. So that'll be enough of that. So Spooky Brothers and Sisters, I appreciate y'all for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Y'all already know I got more content on the way. If you're looking to join the Spooky Gang, go ahead and click that subscribe button and look out for your boy. But other than that, till next time, stay spooky.